This is Haibike Next Generation, a super lightweight, mid-power electric mountain bike. The bike is a full-on trail bike, but e-powered with Fazua's new Ride 60 system. Haibike have completely revised everything with this new lightweight bike. The shock position, suspension kinematics, with a pretty unique design that allows a battery to be removed. So this is the Haibike Lyke, brand new for 2023. Super lightweight, 18 kilo electric mountain bike, full 29er Fazua Ride 60 system with the 60 Newton meters of torque and 450 watts of peak power. Let's take a look around the bike in a little bit more detail. A full ride will be coming out super soon, like next week. Been riding it for the past few weeks. This new category of super light bikes is brewing, like over the next year. No doubt we're going to see loads and loads of this category of bikes, but Haibike are there super early with a 140 travel 29er 18 kilo electric mountain bike with a 430 watt hour battery. First up, looks like no Haibike I've ever seen before. Design language is still there. You've still got that unique kind of Haibike frame, but this is super slick, super minimalist. There is 3 models in the range. This is the top end model. It's top end price as well. So 60 Newton meters of peak torque, 450 watts of peak power, super slim down tube. Battery is housed in here. Now, Haibike have done really well to get this build down to 18 kilos. It's a trail build. So on the front, we've got a Fox 36 factory. Some people are still using Fox 36 in EWS. It's still a beefy, burly fork. But it's on this lightweight, mid-assist electric mountain bike. It's a 140 travel, 140, 29, 29, 140 front and 140 rear. I really do like this Fox 36, and I'm really glad that they've put the more premium Grip 2 damper, not the cheaper Fit 4. Just feels better, nice and plush off the top. One of the super cool things about this bike is the way they've managed to keep that weight down. For the Fazua Ride 60 system, Fazua actually make 2 batteries for it. One is for the bikes that will have a removable battery, and the other is for bikes that won't have a removable battery. It actually uses Fazua's internal battery that is made specifically for bikes that won't have a removable battery. Now I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but the way they've done it is they've actually rotated the motor up. So you see just here, right there, that's where the motor sits. And that has allowed them to use one of the internal base batteries to save weight, but you can still actually remove the battery super easy with 2 bolts on the motor, and it drops out under the bike, and you don't even need to put the bike on a stand or lay it down. There's enough space under there for that battery to come out. It is super quick and easy to remove. So they've got the benefits of having the smaller, slightly smaller and slightly lighter internal battery, but you actually can remove it, which is pretty cool. Ultimately, what that means is the center of gravity is super low because the battery kind of exits just there, just down there. The motor is actually rotated upwards, and then just here you can see there's a little vent there to help keep the motor cool, so it's not entirely enclosed by carbon. There's an air vent there, and if I just rotate under, just under there, you might be able to see there's the cooling fins just under here, which help kind of keep the motor cool. There's a heatsink under there as well. Here is the Fazua remote. It's like this twisty thing, so it's kind of like pretty ergonomic actually to change. It's one that you don't actually have to look down at all. You can feel this kind of flicky thing here. They call it like a ring controller or something. So you've got up and you hold it to turn it on, down, hold down to turn it off, and then you move up and down through the modes with that. It's a pretty self-explanatory and easy to use system. By the way, will activate walk mode. One thing to note, I did query this with Haibike. It does feel a little bit flimsy. Feels a little bit kind of weak, and that it feels to me like it might break. Haibike said that there has been another revision from Fazua. This is a very early pre-production bike. There's only 4 of these bikes in the world, and there's hardly any of these motor systems out at all. So I'm hoping that the final versions come with a little bit of a less flimsy, more premium kind of ring controller. It just feels like a little bit cheap compared to the rest of the bike. So I mentioned that it's a 450 watt system of peak power from Fazua, which technically is true. Now there is a little bit of kind of poetic license in that yes, it's 450 watts of peak power, but only when you use this boost function. The boost function only lasts for 12 seconds, so it's only to be used in very short bursts. Now when you see all the stats of these bikes with the Fazua Ride 60 system, you see this kind of 450 watt peak power quoted in loads of the marketing. It's a little bit kind of misleading because it's only for 12 seconds. After about 5 or 6 goes, it kind of stops working. Don't get me wrong, it's super cool that we've got this 450 watt boost setting. So when you're comparing these mid-power bikes and you're looking at the stats, just bear that in mind. So on the front, we've got a 29er carbon rim, Maxxis Dissector with a 29 2.4, Max Terra, just the EXO casing. Here's a trail build, this bike. So not super burly tyre, but Dissector is pretty well respected trail carcass. Obviously, you could put DHR, Assegai, anything on. It's going to weigh a little bit more, but the stock build comes with this Dissector tyre. What I like about this frame is you can see this carbon layup, so as you kind of move down the frame, super nice light, sunlight reflecting off of it. Sunset's just popping off. But just through here, maybe you can see that. There's some nice kind of weave just in there. As you make your way down, just around here, there's a different kind of carbon layup. As we go up around the kind of mode controller, or display, whatever you want to call it, different layup of carbon. Just around there, just looks super premium, I think. Everything's stock other than the bars, stem and grips. Might be some ever so slight spec changes on the final builds, but it's not going to be a huge amount of difference. And here's the Fazua kind of, whatever this is, dashboard, display. This contains all the Bluetooth, the brains of the bike. Nothing huge to talk about that really. It's not the nicest looking thing. It's pretty, it's a big piece of plastic that just contains some LEDs, 5 LEDs. So I'm always going to say that these things could be better until they're really smart and premium looking. Now there's no bike out there at the moment I think, wow, that's amazing, that's a really great bit of innovation. It's just a kind of plasticky thing that shows your mode on there, and I do think that e-bike industry can do better with things like that. Little flat flush mounted OLED display would look super premium. Now this is what it is for now. It's functional, serves a purpose, could be better, yeah, but oh well. I'm always going to mention things that I think could be better on bikes. It does flip up here, and this is where you actually will update the bike via USB-C if you want to plug it into a computer, but you can do it via the app remotely as well. And to charge the bike, got this little flap here. It's right down in the danger area by the bottom bracket. Magnetic, so you can see super easy to shut. Does it all by itself, no fiddling around, just it's nicely sealed. But hey, I'm in the UK, we get some pretty wet weather here. Time will tell. Do seem to get super lucky up here. Again, lovely sunset. We're just at the end of the summer in the UK. It's been so nice and dry. I know there's been loads of stuff with droughts and lack of water, but I have really loved the weather, especially for biking. It's been so good. Actually comes with 170 crank arms on it. I probably would change these for something slightly shorter, 165, even 160. I do find that you can climb way more on an e-bike, so yeah, interesting that it's come with 170 cranks. The motor does have like a ratchet in it, so when you backspin the pedals, it's a little bit like the Bosch system. It's got about 52 or 56 engagement points, so there is a little bit, tiny little bit of play in there. Nothing like the last one that they did, the original Fazua Ovation, that only had about 24, so there's no issue at all with those ratchets. It does make a little bit of noise when you back pedal and kind of ratchet it on maybe climbs and rock gardens. It isn't distracting. You do notice it, but it's kind of like just fades into the background. I'm not worried about it at all. Moving along the chainstay, like a big beefy kind of chain protector there. Massive. You're not getting any chain slap noise on there. Little pivot point there. This is running Shimano XT. The actual builds will be slightly different. I think that's an SLX cassette on there as well. And then carbon rear wheel, this Maxxis Dissector 2.4 Exo Plus, so slightly beefier carcass on the rear. So it's super different looking to any Haibike. It is an 18 kilo. It's pretty impressive in terms of weight, considering it's got 430 watt hour internal battery, and you can get a range extender to go on this as well. So with a range extender, you're pushing 660 watt hours of capacity, which is pretty mega, really, considering that that's almost full power bike territory. You could probably ride for days on this. In my initial tests, the range is around about 1,000 to 1,300 meters of elevation on like really high settings. I could get way more than that if I dialed it down a little bit, but looking forward to sharing all the ride stuff with you. Been riding it loads, got loads of really cool footage and loads of feedback on the way it rides, and I'll save all that good stuff for the next video. So it's coming super soon. Now, if you've got any questions in the meantime, pop them down below. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you soon.